I run a consumer app studio. We have a portfolio of products. These are our own products. We build them, we distribute them ourselves, and we make money via subscriptions. It is very similar to a game studio. They keep on churning out games. We keep on churning out apps. We've built out around 15, 16 products. 3 or 4 of them have been Deadpooled. The rest of them, we have tried everything and anything to just either scale them or sell them off. There's only one channel that works really well when you want spikes in distribution, and that is TikTok UGC. We end up spending somewhere around like $300 to $400 a month on running the entire pipeline end to end, right from scraping million videos to sort of recreating around 1,000 odd videos.
Just for the sake of building, don't build anything. It's worth less at this point to build out just another app if you can't distribute.
Hello, hello.
Hello, guys.
So we have Vatsal
We haven't recorded
in a while, yeah.
recorded a pod so long that Shobhit has forgotten the intro.
So we have Vatsal today with us. Vatsal, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. So
Very good.
Vatsal, from what I understand, you tell me first what you're doing. But from what I understand, you run a portfolio of products, a product studio, as some people like to call it. But what do you say when someone asks, so what do you do?
Yeah, so at this point, I run a consumer app studio. We have a portfolio of products. These are our own products. We build them, we distribute them ourselves, and we make money via subscriptions. And these products are largely for US audiences. But I mean, just to understand, so there are concepts of venture studio, product studio, dev studio, and all of these. So we are bootstrapped, and it is very similar to a game studio. They keep on churning out games, we keep on churning out apps, and the idea is to make money via subscriptions.
So what kind of apps are these? Like, what's the biggest app you have?
We've been doing this for the past 3 years. We were not primarily an app studio or a consumer app studio. We were a micro SaaS product studio or whatever you call it, right? We would build out anything and everything under the sun. The idea was to like learn how to build products, grow them as well. And we exited most of our portfolio. I mean, these are like small IP acquisitions. At this point, we have 2 products. One of them is a note-taking tool called Audio Notes, and the other one is an interior design tool called Home Design AI. It's like you put in a picture and it feels like a wrapper, but I mean, these are the kind of products that work on app stores. So we are category agnostic, and there's like no play in terms of we'll just do productivity or this or that. We know how to build products. If we see an opportunity in terms of us being able to distribute a product, we'll go ahead and build that out.
How do you guys, like, with these two ideas, how did you kind of come about them? How did they manifest? Why did you guys decide to build these two ones in particular?
Right. So the first one, Audio Notes, right? This is one of our oldest products that we've not exited, and it has sort of gone from a web app to a cross-platform note-taking tool. We thought of this idea back when OpenAI first launched Whisper. This is just very early days of Whisper coming out, and we were like, oh wow, this is so great. And a few products had gone viral on Twitter, and we're like, oh, can we build something cool as well? So we built that out. Those were the days when Product Hunt launches were like cool and all. So we launched on Product Hunt and did this and that. But that is there. But over time, we have sort of moved from being just a Whisper wrapper to being able to solve for meetings and students, etc. And we've gone down the product rabbit hole. The second one was a very strategic bet. There was this tool that we had sold 2 years back. It was called Visualize AI. We built it out, sold it off in 3 months. But I mean, after a while, we thought that that tool could have been a mobile app as well. And then we started looking at the App Store, and we figured that there's this app called Home AI, which does like 4 million a month or something like that. And like, oh, wow, why not build it out, right? So we just built it out, and then the idea was that let us build this out and we'll figure out a way to distribute it. It was more
So,
like
and
that someone is paying for this thing, so let us just build
yeah,
it out.
but so what exactly does Home AI do, and what does your kind of interior design product do? Is it like I take photos of the home and it does it up, or it recommends products to buy, or
Yeah. So it's a very basic tool in the sense that it primarily allows DIY homeowners and students and people who are just into all of these Pinteresty things to upload picture of their room or anything, and then they can reimagine it in matter of styles and palettes, etc. So I mean, you can prompt it out, of course, but then if you like Scandinavian, Bohemian, Gothic, Victorian, etc., right? So people don't know that, so it's a very simple flow for them that they come in and they can, and there are a lot of features. You can remove an object, add an object, like reimagine certain part of the room or whatever, do like exteriors and all of that. You can do mood boarding, inspiration tool for interior designers before they actually jump into doing everything on proper interior design tools.
Interior designers are the major power users here, or is it like just somebody like me just clicking a random photo and thinking like this is what my house will look like, or is it like more of like a semi-professional tool at this point?
No, it's not a semi-professional tool at this point. It's more like a lot of these design students or people who are gonna get their homes renovated and all. They are trying out stuff. It's more like a hairstyle tool for people. Like you like upload a picture and try out hairstyles and like, oh, this looks cool and all. But in the end, the barber will sort of they'll figure that is this possible or not. So similarly, think of like people in the US who are gonna like redo their homes and all. They'll just try out like 10 things in terms of style. This is how it looks in minimal, this is how it looks in Scandinavian, etc. And then from then on, they can like choose to do it or not do it. There are a lot of people who are just interested in doing this. They're like DIY aesthetic and all of that, and they put it out on their Pinterest and all of that. And there is a segment wherein interior design companies are also using the tool. I think they probably use it for the mood boarding part when they sit down with their customers as to key as a it can मतलब ये लग सकता है and all of that.
Makes sense. And then how are your users for this primarily from the US, like you mentioned? How do you kind of find them, acquire them? How do they hear about the product?
We've gone down the journey in terms of be learning how to build products 3 years back to building good products and learning how to build good tech, and then now over the last year or so we've been dabbling around how to distribute these products. We have tried almost every channel which is out there, right from SEO, ASO, product hunt, launches, LinkedIn, Twitter, Reddit, and finally we figured that at this point in time there's only one channel that works really well when you want spikes in distribution, and that is TikTok UGC.
Yeah.
So we largely distribute everything via TikTok UGC, and that is where I think we've made great inroads in terms of understanding the entire pipeline, right from being able to figure out what kind of content works for that particular app to posting that from India and then posting it at scale, and then also converting all of that content to downloads. And then there is a funnel to it, like 100 downloads, like 90 users sign up, 5 users pay, and there's an LTV to it.
And like this working with TikTok creators, and like, do you run the accounts and channels, or is it mostly you kind of partner with content creators on TikTok who would create video on your behalf and for like some kind of referral money, or I don't know exactly how that.
If you were to break down TikTok UGC marketing, right, you could either have a brand account, right? It's like Audio Notes or Home Design AI. You could also have ambassador accounts. It's like Anmol.audio notes, Shobhit.audio notes, Vatsal.audio notes. In that ambassador account, what you essentially do is you hire a creator who may or may not have a following, but the whole thing is that they can create content. So they create content on your behalf. You pay them per video, and there is a bonus based on the number of views as well. It's a proper CPM math, and all of that math is something like a video costs you somewhere around $10 to $20 at scale. And the third one is influencers, right? You can just hire them and ask them to post about it. We tried all three, and we figured that hiring ambassadors is what works for most people, but then it is very expensive.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to do like one, and the whole play behind why people do TikTok UGC is because TikTok is a very different platform. You post one video and it can go viral even when you don't have followers, because it's an interest-based social network. Unlike Instagram, wherein you still have a strong network pull, that if you have followers, your content will do well. So now the play in TikTok is that your first video can go viral, right? So you don't have to like build followers and all. So what you do is you build a lot of accounts. You start a lot of accounts. Now imagine doing 10 accounts. So 10 accounts, 40 videos per month is like $800 to $1,000, and then the bonuses on top. It's like $10,000 of spend. Right. So that's way too much. So what we did was we sort of broke it down into what kind of content can be automated with AI and we have a proper AI UGC pipeline that we run, I think 9 or 10 accounts at this point for these two apps.
How did you figure this out? Like this doesn't seem to be a very straightforward thing to sort of even know for that matter, right? Like how did you figure that out? What was the trial and error process like?
We spoke to a lot of people who have been doing it in the US. The biggest problem that we faced early on was how do we sort of post from India? Like figuring that out was like one of the biggest pain points. And of course, now that I think the playbook is out there, you get a US. I mean, you get an iPhone, you set it up for US, and then you do 4G proxies and all of that, or residential IPs. But that took a lot of time. After that, parallelly, we were working with a lot of these ambassadors, and we figured that managing them is a task in itself, and you can't essentially do product, customer support, and managing these creators at the same time, because these are like students, right? And if they don't warm up the accounts, and if they don't like post quality content, and very honestly, we are also not content first, right? We are I'm an engineer, my team is largely problem solvers, right? We don't understand content that way. That did not work out for us, and we essentially, I think, spent like 12 to $15,000 in like 3-4 months, and that yielded like absolutely shit results. So we're like, okay, we're checking things out. This is also not working, this is also not working, this is also not working. But over time, we figured, okay, now we can post from India, let us do content from India. And then AI became good over the last like 4 or 5 months or so. So we started off with the lowest hanging fruits, which is like, can we like do slideshows or carousels? We got views on that. We like started crossing millions of views on slideshows. We're like, okay, wow, this works. Now the second step is, can we do like AI UGC? That started working for us. That, I mean, of course, we were like not sure whether that will get blocked or not, and because it's AI and all, it did not get blocked. We started scoring views on that, and we're like, oh wow, level 2 is unlocked. Now what? We're like, okay, can we do a format, or can we figure out a system wherein we get views and that leads to downloads as well? And that started happening recently. So now we went step by step. It was like a lot of grunt work, but I think by the sheer virtue of not giving up is something that we figured out all of this. And then parallelly, we built out a system which can now do it automatically, all of this.
How did you get that kind of like $10,000 to $12,000? Like was it basically your savings, or did you guys just put in
No,
money?
our products make okayish amount of revenue. So,
But even they would
I
not have
mean,
been making, right?
so Audio Notes is, I think now 2.5, 3 years old. There's a steady revenue rate. Home AI is a newer product, but yeah, I mean, Audio Notes sort of fuels both the products at this point when it comes to marketing. And we have a decent enough budget of doing marketing experiments every month. We end up spending anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 on trying out new things. Now that UGC is sort of figured.
On like the AI content and AI UGC front too, does TikTok care about AI content or not the same way that like Instagram like tag stuff, and like do your end consumers care about it's an AI influencer or a human influencer, or do they not really care at this point?
So I think you gotta be very smart about it. So there are certain AI formats which do really well. You must have come across these animated videos
Yeah,
wherein
yeah, the
something is coming out
fruits.
of the face and all of that, right? So that is AI, and people love it. Like, or that Love Island or something like that also sort of came on TikTok, wherein like fruits were there was like mini TV series or something like that on TikTok, wherein fruits were like dating each other and something like that was there. So people love that kind of content, but that is very hard to create. What we have essentially done is that we scraped everything which worked for our competitors, and then we categorized everything into a bucket, and whatever seemed doable with AI, which did not feel very off, and which was scalable, we picked those things up. So wahan pe it's you will not be able to figure whether that's AI or not. For instance, one of the formats that we do is there's a person in the background who's like giving a reaction, which is very random. It's a 13-second clip, and on top of that person is a wall of text. So even if it is AI, you will not be able to figure out. It is just that they're doing something, and that format works, right? So we pick those formats which essentially work. Yeah, they're like proper AI, or they're like not figurable. But we don't like to play in between, wherein it might as well not work, or it's very hard to scale.
How do you make money here? Like, is it subscriptions or is it one-time payments? And like, are you profitable on the unit level, or you're like, okay, in the long term or maybe in 3-4 months I'll get profitable, or like what does that math look like?
Right. So, first of all, understand the funnel, right? So, 100 downloads is 5 paying users. Each user sort of gives me around $110. So, every 100, yeah, I sell annual plans, right? Because the churn is very high in AI. It's very difficult to play in a commoditized category and rely on recurring monthly subscription. So you eventually end up selling annual plans, right? So for me, whenever I get a user, and this is just once, and now we are seeing that there is at least like 40% repeat as well. So this LTV is going to increase further only. Because the app is just 1 year old. So now the repeats have started coming. But essentially, this is the math for, every downloads, I make what, 500, $550. So it's like $5 to $6 is something that I make per download at a very, very crude level, right? Now the whole play is how do I get more downloads, right? So there is a certain number of downloads which come in because of SEO, ASO, and organic presence that we have had over the last 3 years because people search for it, and so there's absolutely no cost to that. We are not actively investing in SEO. We used to have an agency for that, so I don't know how to sort of put a number to it, but I think that's zero CAC for us. The other channel that we do is TikTok UGC. There is a fixed cost. There is no variable cost per video for us at this point. I mean, we end up spending somewhere around like what, $300 to $400 a month on running the entire pipeline end to end, right from scraping a million videos to sort of recreating around 1,000 odd videos or whatever. We're actively experimenting with meta ads. Wahan pe what we figured is it's a little harder to run meta ads for apps, iOS apps, because of Meta's SCAD. Apple's SCAD post-back events and all of that. That's been very painful for us. We've burnt a lot of money on that, but wahan pe I think what we've seen is that the cost per install is somewhere around $2, but that's still not yielding the same amount of conversion as we are getting in organic. And our sense is that we just need to like get Meta to a level wherein we're putting like $2.5 per download and making like $3.5 at an aggregate level. But that is like the broader math here.
But you said $300 to $400 a month for TikTok. Like, that seems low, because you saying that $10,000 or $3,000, like $20. So this guy would just take for making the video, the ambassador.
No, so we do only AI UGC. We do not do ambassadors.
They don't pay because they're just running their own, creating their own ambassadors in a sense, right?
Yeah. There are a lot of AI influencers, or not even AI influencers. The same account will have like 15 different people posting about the product and all. It just does not matter. And all of the bigger ones are also doing the same thing. Granola, Kama.
And do you have attribution from TikTok? Are you able to attribute that, okay, this video did well, that is why these downloads came?
One more channel, we are also investing in Apple search ads. Apple search ads it's like we spend $1 and we're making $1.50. But like scaling the spends over there is a little harder because the bids are capped. It's a very dumb channel. You just like bid on keywords and all. If someone sees that they're doing well, they'll up the spend. It's a weird channel, but I think that's that. For Meta ads, Apple search ads, you get attribution. For TikTok, there's no direct attribution because if you see any of those videos, right, it essentially pushes the customer to search for that app on App Store or on web, right? You do have a link in bio and all of that after you cross 1,000 followers. Usse pehle you can't put a link in bio on TikTok. But even when you do so, you don't, the number of clicks are abysmally low. With UTMs and all, even with like 1 million views and all, the clicks are very low. So the only way TikTok converts is it essentially pushes the customer to search for it. And on the day that video sort of does well, you of course see a spike in revenue. Let's say if I'm doing $1,000 a day, that day I might do much more than that. More than like the 20% tolerance level that we keep on seeing. And when we go to App Store Connect, that is how you manage your iOS apps. We'd go and see that there is a spike in search-led downloads.
What's your team like? Do you have support people? Like, do they wake up? Do they stay up all night to sort of support the US crowd that you're getting? Like, how does that work?
No, I mean that's the beauty of B2C, right? If the product is like done well enough, you don't have to like get on client calls, and unlike a Shopify app or a B2B app and all, you don't have like much complaints. We like get like 5 or 6 complaints or 10 complaints a week at best, or issues at best, and we ourselves do the same.
Is most of it like just, oh, I didn't want to subscribe, can you refund me? Or is it like more complicated?
It used to be like I have logged in via Google, but I can't see my notes because they signed up and subscribed using the Apple account and all of that. And someone is like, someone also comes up with a very genuine thing that, hey, on Android, the double backspace is not working. You're like, oh, wow, thank you for testing this out. We'll fix it right away. And things like that. But the refunds and all are like pretty low. And even if there are any app store manages it directly, so they can just go and we've enabled it. Please take your money.
And are you solo or do you have a team? Like, what's that like?
We are a team of 6 people. There's one mobile dev, there's one full stack dev, there's one designer, there's one product tech guy, there's one growth guy, and I do almost everything. And I think everyone now does almost everything with Cloud Code and all.
How many um, experiments or products do you churn out, or how many experiments do you run? Like, do you do on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, or maybe like we'll do 3 in a year? What is your studio velocity like?
Right, so we've stopped building new products. We are now building, or rather productizing the infra that allows us to distribute these products. So what we figured that the space that we operate in consumer, right? Consumer, I think Anmol probably would know this much better than I do. But when you break down consumer, right, you have like the social category of apps like TikTok, Instagrams, etc. Second, you have the entertainment ones like OTTs and microdrama and all. Third, you have like habit forming apps like Duolingos of the world and all of that. All of these three categories rely strongly on network graphs or content graphs. The fourth category, which is doing really well, is general purpose agents, which is your chat GPT, perplexities, Geminis of the world. And they are like supremely useful, and they solve a lot of problems. People use them over and over again. The fifth category, the category that we largely operate in, wherein there's a note taking tool, or let's say there's an interior design tool, or there's some other tool that we are building out, right? Most of these are utilities. The biggest problem with utilities is that for most of these apps, you cannot gamify them so that the user may not come over and over again. There's also no key factor involved here. Very rarely, until and unless you do a granola like play, wherein you are going B2B and doing for a note taking app, it's very difficult for one user to get like 4 more users. The only way you sort of win this category is to build out a cash flow, negative working capital cycle, as in to run all of these apps, you acquire and do that, right? So, and there's a limit to which you can go in terms of revenues. So biggest note taking app in our category does like $1 million a month. So that's the ceiling, like 10-12 million dollars, and our understanding is that they don't like make more than like 20% net. Of course, that's a great enough outcome for them, and they have like 5-6 apps. But then again, it's not sustainable if you're looking for doing something much bigger. So for that reason, what we figured is that we've gone very deep into consumer. There are a lot of broken pieces, especially when it comes to distribution. So the idea right now is, can we build out a suite of agents, or whatever you call them, harnesses or tools, that essentially allow you to become much better at distributing these products. A lot more people will keep on building with, building becoming commoditized, but they'll find it hard to distribute. Since we've spent enough and more time, we are probably going to focus much more on building out the agents and the infra for allowing people to distribute their products rather than building more products. We might as well do something like a short-term play, build a product out, take it to like a $5,000 MRR, and sell it off for, let's say, 200K, 300K, make a quick buck, buy a car or something like that. But then again, that would be a short-term play, definitely not the long-term play. We do not want to, keep on building out like 10 more products, because there's absolutely no point building so many of these and, spending so much time.
Yeah, so I also saw a tweet of yours which basically you said recently that you sold off one of the products, right? Like, what does that journey look like? I'm very curious about like how does a small product acquisition sort of looks like, at least from the seller or buyer point of view, either ways. But I think you would have the seller point of view. Like, did you list it somewhere, or was it like a cold email? Because I remember I tried to buy once, I think in 2018, the Streaks app. and the guy was asking somewhere around 500K, and I was like, bro, I
You
don't have
tried
that
to
kind.
buy the Streaks app.
Yeah, because I
Isn't
also,
that like, isn't that
yeah,
very popular?
yeah. So I had a more popular app also called Streaks, but it was on the
Uh,
Android Play Store. I was like, okay, what is my next step here? I should just go and buy that app and see. And then he's like, 500K I need, and I was like, okay, sorry to waste your time.
No, I mean, if you're interested in any of our apps, there's friends and family discount for you, Shobhit. But yeah, I mean, acquisitions, right? So we've been doing this for a while. I think we've sold off collectively around 10 odd products until this point. Three ways in which I think you can sell products. One is via these platforms, Acquire, Microns, Flippa, etc. Second is cold outreach to people that you know buy products. There are like bunch of these folks on Twitter. And third is like random inbound. So we have like tried everything, and largely the marketplaces work out well, but marketplaces, whenever you sell via marketplaces, you do not get like a crazy multiple. It's largely around 3x or 3.5x ARR on good days, and like 2x or 1.5x ARR on like normal days. And most of these acquisitions, right, are, for us it has been somewhere anywhere between like 5 10k per product to like something around 100k or 150k, something along those lines, not more than that. These are like micro acquisitions. What we figured is that people buy these for like two three reasons. One is traffic. I mean, traffic on the internet is expensive, everyone understands that. Second is cash flow. For a lot of people, this is a simple cash flow math. While we make like a 7% here in India in FDs, they don't, right? So if they're like gonna put in some money and get a better return in terms of the recurring revenue that they are making from the product, so they're more than happy to put in money. Previously, there were products that got acquired because of the tech that we had built out. I don't think now that applies anymore with all things cloud code, whatever, codex, right?
when you sell off a product or a company, what is the person acquiring? Is it just the product and traffic? Do you kind of have to sign up on doing support for a while? How does the transfer of the API keys and the Stripe accounts, or like how does that like work?
Yeah, we've sort of cracked that entire thing now. It's not an M&A acquisition, it's a IP acquisition. All of the cases that we've sort of sold products, we transfer the domain, we transfer our Lemon Squeezy account. So Stripe is a little tricky, so that is why we use Lemon Squeezy, because you can just transfer the ownership and then it's done. You don't have to do anything. Other than that, all of the GitHubs and everything is transferred to them. The API keys that we have largely for AI products, we kill the keys like within a week or so and ask them that, hey, you can change them out, or if you need help, we'll help you out with that. But I mean, whatever works. And most of these people don't know how to do a lot of these things. So they're like, okay, please do this for me and all of that. Yeah, but it probably takes like a day or two to complete the entire thing. The biggest problem is Google Workspace. If you have a Google Workspace account and all, transferring that to some other country is very hard. So, but other than that, it's like very simple, and mostly the money is put into an escrow. It takes a day for you now, though it's largely async. We just like discussed, hey, can you give me these 5 accounts? I'll just transfer them, and then once it's done, they release the money.
Wow.
And like, do you sign up to do support for them in perpetuity, or they just kind of run and take everything and don't need you
There
post?
have been cases wherein we've supported them for a month or two, but then again the support retainers that we ask for do not make sense for them, so they figure out on their own, and that is something that we do by design, because we do not want to spend energy on that.
Interesting, yeah. Though, how many acquisitions you've had? Like how have you nailed it down already in just 2 3 years?
Oh, I mean, these are micro acquisitions. I think collectively, when I say collectively, so uh, people in the team, they have sold their products as well now, but that number is like 10 acquisitions right now. It's just that whatever we've built out around 15, 16 products. Three or four of them have been Deadpooled. The rest of them, we have tried everything and anything to just either scale them or sell them off.
Let's take a step back. Like, how did you end up starting this venture studio? Where were you before that? And actually, fun fact, Anmol, do you know, like before you, he was supposed to be my podcast co-host, but then I just got lazy in some research, and then I think we kind of lost some precious time, and it just the project sort of got derailed.
So then I'm your backup.
Kind of. But actually, Vatsal was the one who initiated, so
Uh,
yeah, but
Oh yeah, that was long back. Yeah,
long
yeah.
back. But yeah, so like, how did you end up here though? Like, what were you doing before this?
Yeah, so I was working at a fund. I was just, supporting a partner in sourcing deals and all. This was, I think, 2022. And this is when I think Sequoia first came out with the paper on generative AI and all. And I was like very intrigued, one of the first people to write on it. And that is when I started exploring generative AI. I started building a product. I was very active on Twitter. And before this, I'd spent like 4 years at Flipkart doing strategy and business roles, brand and all of that in groceries and fashion. And between that, I'd taken a sabbatical to be at Entrepreneur First in one of their Bangalore cohorts. I couldn't start up back then. But the idea was always there to, build products and all. And during that EF wala time, I started building products on the internet. From then on, I was like very active on Twitter and, dabbling around with products, growth, marketing, whatever. I mean, all of the things that there are. No codes. I've sold info products as well. I've done like all of that crap shit that a builder probably goes through when the idea is just to make money. I've gone through that cycle, and Flipkart, EF, started building, now joined the fund. Over there, came across generative AI, and Peter Level sort of put out this tweet wherein he was like making like 60K or 100K a month with his avatar generator. Right. And I was like, oh wow, my podcasts don't have that kind of visibility for like next 3, 4 years. And this guy's fucking making so much money in just 1 month. Of course, very biased and very naive argument back then, but I was like, "Ki, this is very interesting." And then I started diving deeper into the rabbit hole. And I was like, oh wow, this is something crazy. But of course, I thought for sure did not know ki it'll become so crazy. But then I got in touch with a few other friends who were also building, and we wanted to build out India's first avatar generator or a headshot generator. And that product was called Authorize. We launched the product in December, and I moved out of the fund in Jan. And December, we had also launched a very stupid pickup lines generator that went viral, and we like sold it off in Jan. That was our first acquisition. Wahan se I was like, okay, theek hai. I mean, there's like runway for 2, 3 months. We'll figure it out. And the idea was like, I was not able to fixate on one idea. Let me just, get my friends together. We will figure out how to build products, how to distribute them. And along the way, if we come across a moonshot, we'll pursue that. Now it's been like 3 years since that. 6 people, 15, 16 products, exited most of them. About a year and a half back, we sort of shifted focus to consumer apps because this was when, we figured that TikTok cross app is a very, very big channel. And then from then on now, we have figured that why not, build out tooling for distribution while our apps become our guinea pigs, and we can like keep on experimenting using these to sort of try out our solutions. But from here on, it looks like that we might as well just build out the tooling or whatever you call it, right? For allowing people to sort of go from building to distribution and acquiring customers better.
But you also mentioned you were doing some sort of micro SaaS earlier. What was that?
So, I mean, before these apps, we were building out almost anything and everything under the sun. We would find a new API, we'll just we'll go and build out a wrapper on top of it. If you were playing around with stable diffusion and like, oh wow, this is crazy, let us just build out a tool for that. Any use case, every use case. The idea was very simple. If there's a new model out there, it would have an API. We would be able to build out a workflow. Can we like distribute it via PH, Twitter, or something like that? We did not know ads, we did not know UGC, TikTok, etc. But just build anything, like just get users, just like shout on top of your voice on Twitter, LinkedIn, launch on Product Hunt, do Reddit shit marketing and all of that. And if it went to a certain revenue number, the math was very simple. $1,000 in MRR is essentially a $30,000 to $40,000 exit. Now that was like, okay, that is how we were thinking. And then along the way, we were sort of like, acha, theek hai, that is not sustainable and not something that we're going to do for the longer term.
So is $1,000 MRR product actually sellable, or in a lot of these acquisitions, what have you learned on like okay, I need these many users or this much revenue with this much churn or kind of retention before something actually becomes attractive to
Oh,
someone
no,
on
no.
one of these.
People don't go into that kind of detail.
Okay.
The
Really?
churn, I
When
mean,
they're
they'd
buying
ask
like
for it, but
a
most of the times they would not understand any of that.
like even when
Uh,
someone's buying $100,000, $200,000 product.
Oh, it's a very simple math, right? $100,000 is probably what 3K per month sort of an MRR, right?
Yeah,
Now, if they're
yeah,
putting in $100,000 and if
yeah,
they're making like 3K a month out of that,
yeah.
they wouldn't be making the same amount of money if they put it in an
No, yeah. I get that, but like if you're 3K a month, but you're churning 10%
for
of
them the math
users.
is very simple. For the last 3 months, tell me, is the revenue declining or is it stable or is it growing?
Okay, okay.
That's it.
ठीक.
And of course, some of them are also like these people who are like, they flip businesses. So someone did that. They bought for like X and they like flipped it for 3X. The reason why they were able to do it was because they ran a digital marketing agency based out of Canada. So that they're like, we can like increase the traffic to so much, and then traffic leads to revenue, and revenue leads to multiple. So it's all that. It's a mad market.
Tell me one thing. You have decent CAC is what I understood. If somebody is buying it for 100K, so 3K is probably the revenue, not the profit. I'm assuming, right? Uh, so won't they have like cost and all? Like won't that factor into the thing? Or
So
are
now,
they just
very
thinking,
honestly,
"Ki,
all of these products that we sold off, right, were largely organically distributed. We uh, hadn't activated any of the paid channels or, there's no set process to marketing. It was just us brute forcing our way into numbers somehow. The universe was kind in terms of for some random reason we were making money. Very, very honestly, there's like no process to it. We just build something out, launch it off, shout at the top of our voice on all of these platforms, do random stuff, and then someone will would pick it up. No influencer, no paid. We did not understand most of that stuff. These acquisitions, customer acquisition, CAC, download, etc. All of that is something which is very new to us, and we've been like understanding it for the past 18 months or 12 months or so. उससे पहले तो, I mean, it was just very random.
So you're basically saying you would do a product and launch, and that would generate decent buzz, and then that would get your initial money, and then that will convert into some sort of a recurring money, and then that is the thing that they will essentially end up buying.
So there was this time wherein SAS boilerplates became viral. Mark Lu sort of launched this boilerplate, and we were like, oh, let us just build out an AI SaaS boilerplate. We will also give like 10 applications or wrappers included and all. Now, what was the marketing or GTM for that? Very simple. We'll do a product hunt launch and then let it be, and we'll do some SEO. I mean, make sure we have decent blogs, linking, blah blah blah, whatever. That product hunt launch would essentially led to like what $6,000 in revenue.
Really?
Yeah, and
Dude,
after that,
I've had some like I worked at Stitch, which is used to be $1 billion company, and our product hunt lunches never generated that much in new ARR.
yeah, we launched a revamped version of one of our products, and we made like $30. So we've seen that as well, and we've seen this as well. What we realized was that that was a trending product back then. We launched at the right time, and PH attracted those kind of audiences back then. Now, after that viral launch or whatever you call it, right? We did absolutely nothing, and we were still making like $2,000 every month for the longest time. And we never sort of upgraded the product or never opened that email wherein, it was just like someone pays, they go to the GitHub page, they put in some key, some verification is done, and they get access to the repo, and they can like clone it or fork it.
I have two things that I want to sort of get. One is, can you just describe what was like the first dollar that you made, and you were like, whoa, ye kya ho gaya? When was that? What was the product? One. Second, when did you realize, okay, this is a thing that I can sort of sustain myself through. This can be my full-time thing. Or maybe you were already full-time, but what was it when you realized, okay, this thing is working? Like, can you just go through those two stories?
Yeah, so I think the first dollar that I made on the internet was probably selling a community database, a database of like communities, fellowships, and all. So this friend of mine and I like curated a lot of that stuff. We put it on Gumroad, and we sold about $1,000 worth of that from there. Uh, that was, I think, one of the first things. Or okay, I mean, grants from crypto, I would not want to call that
Yeah,
like my first dollar, because
yeah.
that is like very hurtful. But yeah, I think that was the case. Yeah, around the same time, both of the things, we were like building out a game, crypto game, chess cross crypto, and someone supported us. So I don't think that is like my first dollar, but this was like my first dollar. In terms of when did I figure that this is sustainable and all, so I mean, the first project that we sold off was built in 3 hours, and 2 months is what it took, right? I was like, oh wow. I was still working, and then I moved out in Jan. In March, I think we built something out and we sold it off again in June. And this time, this one's well documented, etc. So we sold this product for like $30,000, I think, in like 2 3 months. I'm like, oh wow. I mean, there's some method to this madness, or it felt so. So that is when I was like, ठीक है, I mean, we'll figure it out. पैसा तो बन जाएगा. इतना कोई लोड नहीं है.
Why did you choose to go down this road of bootstrapping or selling off your businesses rather than raising venture dollars if you've also worked at a VC firm in the past? I'm sure like raising wouldn't have been like that hard.
So I think, I mean, this is a question, which everyone sort of thinks like you're making decent amount of money, etc. Even not counting the exits and all, right? The apps make decent amount of revenue at this point. Deep down, that bias has always been there, that none of this can be a $1 billion business in isolation. The note taking tool, I know for a fact that I've mapped out the entire market, and I've done like all of the stupid things that someone raising capital is supposed to do, right? The biggest player right now, I think, is Notion, if you were to like club those category in terms of revenue. And the most emerging player right now might be Granola. And then there are, of course, categories like for meeting note takers, you have the Otters,
Yep.
Fireflies. Then you have devices like Plod, and then for us, in our category, there's Summary AI, Voice Notes. Voice Notes is also an indie product, does phenomenally well, etc. Right? Audio
That's
Pen.
the buy me a coffee
Yeah,
guy,
yeah, the
right?
same
Yeah.
guy. Yeah. He like cracked distribution like crazy. But then, right? So none of these products, I think, are venture fundable in the way venture works, or as I understand venture works, right?
Fair.
So for that reason, I was like, what is the point of doing it? And then I was also not clear on the larger idea as to what we wanted to do. This, for the longest time, was an experiment to understand how to build products, how to distribute them. And the genesis for this was when I joined EF. I joined EF because I did not have a technical co-founder, right? I wanted to find someone, and then from then on, I figured that it's very important to find a technical co-founder. But then again, it's even more important to find the right people to build with. And I also wanted to understand and all of that. So all of that sort of culminated into me not wanting to do any of that, having a lot more fun. And I think over the last couple of months is when we've started becoming much more serious about what we want to do, and if there is a bigger thing that we aim to do now.
Okay, I have some tactical things that I want to sort of ask now. So you said that there is a proper playbook now out on how to get started with uh, TikTok. What is it? You said something about iPhone, buy a new iPhone, and then go to US. And can you just explain what that is?
Yeah. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to get an iPhone, flash it, set it up for US. Use all emails and everything that you do should be like US based. You can create that, right? Whatever numbers that you're using to set anything up should be a US number. You have a lot of these services available, which will give you like a number for verifying that email or whatever, and it's a US number. Once you're done, the second thing that you need to ensure is that all the activity that happens on that phone happens via a 4G proxy or a residential IP. These are uh, like categories of VPN type of things, wherein for a 4G proxy you're using someone else's phone connection in the US, or for if it's a residential IP, it's like a router in someone's residence or some Wi-Fi or something like that, right? don't use a VPN. VPNs get blocked because TikTok understands that it is a data center IP, so it will block it off. Or you have like a Chinese VPN that no one knows us. That's also okay. So there are like 2-3 tools. Tunnel. I'm forgetting the name. Maybe I'll share it later. But once the phone is set up, once the proxy is enabled, you also need a tunneling tool so as to ensure that there's no connection or data packet going out mistakenly directly to your Wi-Fi, right? Once all of this is done, you install TikTok from the App Store. You will be able to do so. Once you install, you start scrolling. You warm it up for 3-4 days. What warming up means is that you act like a human, and instead of just going out and posting a piece of content, you scroll, you search for, and the best way to go about that is that search for the niche that you wanna post content in. Let's say if it's productivity, meetings, or students. Just search for that, like go through content, and if you're able to see that content over and over again, and it looks like US content and not a Filipino content or something like that, you've warmed it up correctly. Once all of this is done, you make the first post. The first post should not ideally go out on a weekend because there's less activity on weekends for some reason. But that first post should get at least like 700, 800 views or 1,000 views. If you're not getting that, or if it's like under 300, it's a jail. It's like a TikTok jail. You are shadow banned. So TikTok has figured out that, hey, this guy is like gaming up the system and they're not in the US, and they will sort of ban you. But even after doing all of this, you might get banned. And per phone, you should not run more than like 3 accounts. And there are like certain phones wherein the device ID gets like flagged, and also no matter what you do, the account will not work. At this point, I think we bought around 15 odd second-hand iPhones to run these accounts, and some of them have like are now useless. We just can't do anything with them. But yeah, this is how you like set up TikTok. This is still not the harder piece. The harder piece is to figure out what kind of content to create. So, I mean, based on your category, like figure out what others are creating, just look at the views and all, recreate it and post it. But yeah, that's the whole play.
Once you've sort of successfully warmed up the account, you're essentially seeing Americans or white people, I'm assuming, right? Like that, those are the people that
America is more diverse than just white people.
Yeah.
Sure, but I mean predominantly. but yeah, essentially you're seeing Americans there, and that means you've successfully warmed it up, and then you're saying, okay, just copy the best performing creatives that you already see and just put your CTA instead of their CTA and go. Is that the strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is what we do. If you're like very creative, if you're like very smart on content, like please be my guest and do your own content. But if not, just like copy what's working, what's trending, and just make it.
Is this something that your new service is going to help people with, or is that what you're building?
So, I mean, it's a set of agents. The first agent is essentially a UGC research tool. So if you like use the SEMrush or a Ahrefs, think of this tool as Ahrefs for SEMrush. We've been scraping millions of videos. What's happening in the background is there's a OpenClaw or Herms agent. OpenClaw nahi chal raha tha. There's a Herms agent which fetches accounts for popular consumer apps and SaaS products. We scrape all the data. We run it through our pipeline and sort of categorize all the videos into a certain bucket. We figure out what's working, and every day we have what is trending and what is not trending. And there are like formats and like trends and hooks. So you'll be able to figure out why this thing sort of works. So for instance, there's a trend right now, baddie versus baddie. Right. Now, in all likelihood, someone like me will not be able to figure out that this trend is going on, but the tool is able to do so. So last week there was a chat trend. So now the idea is that, there's something trending, there's a format which works, and there's a hook for your product. So you sort of marry all the three together and essentially replicate what's sort of working for others and keep on churning out content. But the tool essentially allows you to figure out what to post.
Is there also like a business for someone creating like a iPhone, letting people post in TikTok in the US easier, like a bot farm for iPhone bot farm for Indian product creators or foreign product creators? Is that like a realistic business idea, or is TikTok just gonna shut that down?
I don't know if the unit economics sort of makes sense for
Yeah,
you to
fair.
do so here in India. But like there are services out there which allow you to actually do so,
Do
wherein
this,
actual
okay.
humans in the US do this for you. It's like on the
No,
number
yeah.
of posts and all of that.
Yeah, like I was thinking about is like if you go talk to like international students in the US or just Americans who are like 15, 16 years old and be like, I'll pay you $50 a month if you create an account, a TikTok account on your phone and you scroll for me a bit and then post 1, 2 times a week for me.
So we've tried that.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
we've tried that. We've tried almost each and everything. We've tried running TikTok via EC2 instance in the US. We've tried running TikTok via a actual bot farm in the US, or they were claiming to be, and we've asked like people to run accounts on our behalf. What you figured is that if you don't have control, humans make mistakes and humans fuck things up. So I mean, if you're really serious about doing all of this, it's better to have control. You either have someone over there who can like manage all of this, or you have you have the control within your own hands, and you're like doing it from here. So because these people, someone who was there in the US accidentally sort of kept posting after they came to India. So
Oh, okay.
okay, there's this person who would not warm up accounts, and we would see, hey, you're not warming up the account because the GL is here. And also the device level limitations, right? You cannot create more than like 3 accounts on TikTok per device. So I'm not sure.
Fair, fair.
Talking of business ideas, do you have anything else as well you had in mind? You're like, okay, I was going to build this, but now I'm not going to build because I'm going to focus on my B2B things. What kind of things should do you think like people should be able to build and make decent money and like or rather because you've already done like 15 to 16 of these, so you might have some sort of a framework. Okay, yeah, this is sort of the way to sort of go about it. Like, what do you suggest? What is that?
Yeah, I think the framework is very clear inside my head in terms of what to build. If there's something that you can distribute, then only you build it out. Otherwise, you don't build it out. I don't understand B2B as much as I do consumer. But if you're like wanting to build something in consumer, either there has to be a viral Twitter or a LinkedIn launch. I mean, not LinkedIn, but a viral Twitter launch that sort of fuels the whole GTM motion, or you need to crack TikTok. Right now, let's say you have the ability to crack TikTok, create content, and all of that. Then, how do you figure what to build? Right. The simple answer to that is figure out what's trending at a cultural level, right? So, for instance, over the last year or two, looks maxing is a very big trend, right? Now, I think spirituality is coming back as a trend in the US, right? Self improvement has been like a great niche to build in. Like someone is building an app for getting fitter, taller. Now there is a new trend of people becoming, I mean, unbalding themselves. I don't know if that's like possible with some red thing, or so you can like I mean, if your ethics allow you, you can just build out a product wherein, hey, follow this regime and, you like grow back your hair or something like that. So, larger point here being key, figure out what's trending over there, build for that. But yeah, other than that, I think just for the sake of building, don't build anything. It's worth less at this point to build out just another app if you can't distribute.
It's basically like what you're saying is basically Ayurved for non-Indians, essentially. That is what you're hinting at.
Yeah. I mean, even astrology, tarot, ये सब भी बहुत ज़्यादा चल रहा है उधर. And I think they're still not doing like the crazy type of content that we have been able to crack.
They're not at the Astro Talk level yet.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of leeway there for people to go and these people like pay. India may also astrology is one of the few consumer categories wherein people make money, but US may like you'll make 5x for the same product.
I mean, yeah, you can get like $100 for a tarot card reading.
Yeah, like $49, and you're like, I'll give you a 6-month reading. $100 is like $99 is like 1 year reading, and like $9.99 is your lifetime tarot reading plus kids plus whatever, and all of that.
And have you seen Kutumb recently? Like the kind of products that they've been churning out. Like essentially they have Crafto is one, then there is Polo, and then
Oh yeah, they
uh,
have a gay dating app.
yeah, they have a gay dating app in India which does
Yeah.
decent money. Do you think like the same model can be replicated in India? The thing that you're doing, or do you think India where nobody is paying? I think the tide is not turning. It's a very
No,
hard
no,
thing to pull
absolutely.
off.
See, India consumer, there are like 4 or 5 categories people pay for sure. One of them is dating, gaming, of course, PUBG and all of those. Of course, the revenues are very low. Gaming, dating, anything which is like a micropayment wala cheese. हाँ,
Entertainment.
yeah, UPI auto pay led wala, whatever, all of these things. So people are paying. The whole point of building consumer in India is that have you cracked that acquisition channel? I think Kutum has cracked meta ads really, really well. Right, they understand as to how to acquire customer at such a low cost, and their funnel of like acquiring a customer in India and making money from them is very clear to them. So I do not see much novelty in the products, but that engine that they have is what essentially works for them. So you need to figure out that if you have some sort of edge in, let's say, meta ads or content or something else, I don't know, maybe Android ads or Apple ads in India, then that's a great place. Consumer is always great. I mean, much better than B2B. Consumer may you see big numbers, you're not dependent on people, not slow cycles. I'm very biased, but
I mean,
consumer is like much better.
if you look at all of India's listed companies, like the top ones are all, other the ones that are banks, are all consumer product or consumer services.
Banks are also consumer services.
I know, but like banks are also, they make money on money, so I wouldn't call them
Makes
just consumer services.
Yeah, I think the B2B sector has sort of yet to play out in India. That is for sure. Thank you, Vatsal, so much for coming. Where should people find out about you? Where do you want to redirect whoever has been listening to us for about an hour now?
I mean, of course, I would love more followers on Twitter. I used to have like a decent following, but I lost my account. It got
Yeah,
hacked.
you lost
Now
your
I have a
account.
new
Yeah.
account. It has like a tiny number of followers. So all of like Shobhit's audience and Anmol audience, please follow me on Twitter. Yeah.
What's your handle?
It's Vatsal_Sangvi.
Vatsal
Follow
underscore
Vatsal on Twitter, guys.
Yeah, and comment what? Comment
Twitter.
Vatsal, Twitter. Comment Twitter. Uh, and thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, you know the drill. And please go follow Vatsal on Twitter. Just give him some love. I don't know how much you can expect, but I mean,
Yeah.
it will be non-zero for sure.
I think he can expect more followers than we will get new subscribers.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a game of who will be more disappointed.
Yeah.
I was wondering why is like Shobhit doing like, share, subscribe, and all. I mean, is it like mandatory or I mean, it's just.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to end the calls now. It's like share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. That's all. It becomes very awkward at the end.
Have you started doing that on client calls? Hey guys, great chat, like, share,
Yeah.
subscribe.
Great chat. Sign the document. You know.
Cool, yes.
But yeah,
Thank you so
thank,
much.
Thank you so much, Vatsal, for joining in. And folks, I hope to see you again next week. Till then, bye bye.